Hi there, it's Brian Hill. 10 days to Badwater135. I'm super excited. Been training hard. I'm ready to roll. Sort of leading into Badwater, I thought I would do a series of video clips just touching on some of the questions that I get quite frequently regarding my running. And I think probably the thing I hear the most is it's more of a comment than anything else that I'm going to address today is when somebody finds out I'm an ultra distance runner. It's more often than not I'll hear, oh my gosh, I can never run that far, my knees can't take the pounding, or I have ankle issues. And then I ask them a series of questions and realize that they're probably running in something like this, a leather court shoe. So this is not a running shoe, this is a leather court shoe, and which is not made for running. So my first recommendation is to make sure that you're really pairing the right shoe with your foot and for the right function. So a court shoe, a tennis shoe, is not for running. So what I thought I would do is sort of walk you through some of the shoes I plan on taking out to Badwater. I may not wear all of them, but I just kind of want to run through some of the shoes I might use and why I might choose to use them. So my typical running shoe is this shoe right here, which is the Brooks Calderas. The thing I like about it is that it's got it's really super cushiony. It's really soft, and it's actually a trail shoe that you can also wear on the road. So I'm used to running in this on very rugged trails, but then also I can use it as a road shoe. For any of these shoes, the first thing I typically do when I buy them is I take out that flimsy little cardboard insole and put a little bit thicker insole in here. These happen to be a brand called Soft Sole, which I really like. So this is just a great shoe. One thing about the shoe is it's a 4mm drop, so from the heel up to the forefoot, it's just a 4mm decline. So it's almost 100% flat, but my heel is just a little bit higher. So this is one shoe that I'll probably start off with. A second one that I might also run with, and just sort of depends on how I feel when I get up that day, is the Hoka Machs. This is another, it's just a super, super lightweight shoe. My foot, it just feels like wearing a house shoe. It's great. This has actually a 5mm drop, so it's almost similar to this one. It just has a little bit more of a drop from the heel to the forefoot. Again, with this one, I'm using a soft sole. It looks a little bit different. It's a different model, but it also it's a super cushiony shoe, and I like this shoe a lot. One reason I might switch between those two, so I might even switch mid-race to a different brand. Sometimes when you're running that long, your feet are starting to swell. You can start getting hot spots, or your shoe will start rubbing, and your foot in certain places. You can develop a blister. So sometimes just putting on a different shoe will help alleviate some of that. This shoe right here is another one I might wear a little bit later in the race. This is the Brooks Adrenaline. It's a road shoe. This has a 12mm drop. So as my hamstrings start to tighten, if they do, hopefully they won't, but there's a lot of climbing in this race. This is a 12mm drop, and it just takes a little bit of that pressure off the hamstrings if they are really tight. It's a road shoe. It's a little bit heavier than both of these also, so that might be why I'm not going to start off with it. But if I do have hamstring issues and they start to tighten, this is probably a shoe that I'm going to ask my crew to pull out of the vehicle so I can switch into. And then finally, this one right here, this is an Ultra, and has a really, really wide toe box. So if I do have a lot of blisters, then this might be one that I'll ask my crew to grab for me, just because if there's anything that's rubbing on those blisters, it's so painful. This really helps with that. The problem with this shoe is this is actually a 0 drop. So if I'm having hamstring issues and I'm having blisters, this is probably not a shoe I'm gonna ask for, just because it's basically completely flat, running on a flat surface from the heel to the forefoot. So these are 4 different shoes, different purposes, and these are just really tools. And whenever you're selecting a shoe, you always want to make sure that you're selecting a shoe for function and not fashion. I think all of these look pretty slick, but even if they were some bizarre colors, I would still choose a shoe because this is a tool, and you're not going to have a good running experience if you don't pick a shoe that's right for your foot. So I hope this has helped. please go to a specialty retailer, have an expert look at your gait, and determine the shoe that's best for you. It might be a Brooks, it might be a Hoka, it might be an Ultra, it might be none of these. So, but these are the shoes that I'm going to use for Badwater 135.